Gettel Stadium Toyota is presenting the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR5 and Undergo. There's a total of 8 different trims. SR5 is kind of a sweet spot between this and the TRD Pre-Runner. The TRD Sport will change to an 18-inch wheel, which the largest wheel design that you can get is 18-inch. And even going into the new Trail Hunter, you'll have bronze exterior, in which that wheel will also be bronze. SR5 and SR will get the 17-inch wheel. Up front gets LED headlights, daytime runnings, and fog lights. You'll get the gloss black that's going to surround the top portion of the headlight assembly. The grille gets the horizontal lines, and the lower bumper is going to extend down a little bit more. So when you go into the Trail Hunter, it's going to have a raised bumper and clearance up to 10.8 inches. Underneath the hood houses the iForce 2.4-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged, producing 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, achieving 21 mpgs for the city, 28 mpgs for the highway. And the reason why you want to go SR5 opposed to the SR is you're going to lose 50 horsepower and over 70 pound-feet of torque going to the base variant. When you go up to the Trail Hunter, you will also decrease horsepower, but you will have the same configuration of bed. So you'll have the 5-foot double cab or the 6-foot extra cab, whereas the TRD Pre-Runner will only option a 6-foot bed extra cab. TRD Sport, TRD Off-Road, and Limited can be optioned as a hybrid or turbocharged, but when you go into the Trail Runner, that can only be a hybrid option. And the TRD Off-Road, TRD Sport, and Limited will get the iForce Max, which has 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque, and towing up to 6,500 pounds with a payload over 1,700 pounds, whether you go hybrid or turbo. But putting this back into the hybrid, you're going to drop towing to 6,000 pounds. I would option the running boards because the clearance is a little bit more so than the prior gen. The suspension has been retuned with a standard independent double wishbone front with electronically controlled locking rear differential, coil spring multi-link rear suspension, and the 3 trims that offer the optional adaptive variable suspension system, or AVS, is the TRD Sport, TRD Off-Road, and Limited trim. The Trail Hunter has the off-road suspension that includes a forged multi-tube position sensitive coilovers with the rear remote reservoir shock, and the TRD Pro off-road suspension includes the Fox Q53 adjustable internal bypass coilover. In the rear, we'll get the remote reservoir shocks with a 1-inch lift for the front, 0.5-inch lift for the rear. The spare tire is going to be tucked underneath, LED taillights, and the Tacoma badging across the tailgate. Quick release going into 73.5 inches, a depth at 20.2 inches, between the wheel well housing at 44.7 inches. Power lumbar support for the driver, 6-way manual seat adjustment for the front. Power seats start on the TRD Sport with option heat and ventilated with the soft tech seats. Heated starts on the TRD Pre-Runner. Headroom and leg room. The Refresh gets a whole transformation in the interior, starting with storage in the passenger side with the Tacoma badging. You can option a 6 or 10 speaker layout when you go to the TRD Sport, which will also unlock a 14-inch screen that will be in the center. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse, and we have trajectory that expands. You can change the camera layout, and you can take those lines off. Dual climate control settings will start on the TRD Sport, as well as a wireless charging pad, and you have kind of a his or her setup with USB 12 volts, a grab handle here, and you can run the wire right through here. So I like that because it's not going to dangle everywhere, and you can probably fit a larger phone right through here. Soft tech around the gear lever and the key fob for the new Tacoma. Going to be a little bit more firm, opens up into a pretty decent sized storage pocket, and the steering wheel can be optioned as leather and heated for the SR5. with a digital gauge cluster that can be optioned up to a 12.3 on the SR5 that can go through an array of information for the driver, including your settings and different information for the vehicle. I like the 2-tier because it keeps the same style as the prior Tacoma. TRD Sport will option a moonroof, and the TRD Sport can option a digital rear view mirror. Auto dimming rear view mirror starts on this trim, and the door panel has 2 armrests similar to the Tacoma, 1 touch up and down for the windows, and 2 tiers of storage with 3 beverage holders carved out. For the back seats, they can fold up at a 60-40 split, and you have a divider. And you can also fold them this way, where it'll fold more or less flat, and you got some storage in the back. Headroom for the back and leg room with storage only behind the passenger seat. Cup holders in the center with a 12-volt. No armrest here. The door is going to have the same materials found in the front, except you're losing one of the storage pockets, but you have 3 cup or beverage holders in the lower with the grab handle there on the side. Sliding into the center, the floor isn't flat. You're going to be sharing some feet space, but leg and shoulder space isn't that bad because it's cloth seats, but as you see, knee space is compromised, as well as headroom. It's going to be a little bit tight for somebody that's 6'3". 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. The SR5 is the sweet spot with performance and optioning 2 different bed lengths. When you go into the TRD Sport, that's going to be the sweet spot when it comes to unlocking features. The drive is smooth. The rework suspension has altered the drive quite a bit. It's a lot more quiet than the prior gen. You sit up a little bit higher than the prior gen. Visibility is still good. The seats are comfortable. And for maneuverability, the steering wheel is a lot more light than the prior gen, and the car doesn't feel overly heavy pushing the gas pedal. When you go into the SR, that's basically getting your feet wet because you will be losing 50 horsepower and 74 pound-feet of torque less than the SR5. Towing up to 6,500 pounds is not bad, and a payload over 1,700 pounds, so you're going to be able to get the job done for a day in and day out use. 8 different trim configurations. I like that we have a new Trail Hunter because it's on the exterior. It looks cool with the bronze, plus you have the off-road suspension, and you can option the hybrid or turbocharged engine. When you go into the TRD Pro, that's not going to be the case. You can only option the hybrid. It's turbocharged, so look what you get. A little bit of a kick, some of the exhaust note that filters in. Doesn't sound like a drone, doesn't sound quite like a V6, but it has its own unique exhaust note. Braking in the vehicle, just as good as the prior gen. And turn radius to maneuver in and out of traffic is going to be about 3 lanes. But it has the get up and go. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to stop by Gettel Stadium Toyota to check out their new and pre-owned selection.